And welcome to Further Every Day, and glad that you're joining us today. We're having the technical issues that we have had before, and they decided to rear their ugly head today. But today we're going to get into the issue of leadership and where many of our political people stand. Where do you stand with leadership? We're going to talk about that. We've got some different examples to discuss. We're also going to be doing Steve Shenanigans today. And we're going to do our segment on the Screwtape letters and a really great look at some stuff there. So got a good show for you here today. I'm Charlie. Welcome. Glad to have you today. Where in the world is John Arthur? We do know. We know where he's at. He will be back next week. And so we're going to cover for him one more week here, and then he'll be back leading the show this next week. Really appreciate all of you joining us and listening to us on your favorite podcast download platforms. You can also catch us on YouTube, Rumble, and you catch us on Sunday afternoons, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Central Time. And as always, we have our wonderful panel of guests here. So, Miss Nikki, good afternoon to you.
Hi, good afternoon.
Are you all recovered from your vacation and being sick and all that? You're ready to go.
Yes, I'm ready to go. I'm thinking, when did I get vacation? That was the beginning of July.
That trip was. It was a nice relaxing week that we.
It was a good week. I need another one.
Very good week. And then we got Mr. Steve.
Yes.
It is so good to have you with us again today.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
It is good to see y'all again.
Wouldn't you love to go on vacation?
And then we've got Rai, the producer guy. There you go.
Me.
That's you,
Captain.
Appreciate all of your help and everything. And let's talk a little bit about what we've got here for the show today. I think I mentioned 3 examples for you, and if you would put up that first cut there, Ryan, but just kind of give you guys a taste of what we got coming here. We've got the Texas legislature. Oh, where did they go? They were running from leadership this week. We've got, would the squad like another member? Yeah, maybe Delia Ramirez is available. Might want to check on that. And we've got Chuck Schumer, probably one of the fearless leaders of the Democrat Party. Oh. Yeah, so, and we're going to do the song review and the Screwtape letters and Steve Shenanigans. Let's get into the leadership aspect. And you should understand that anytime that we get into some of these different topics, one of the things that we think is really important is to go ahead and define your terms. All right? So today we want to do our best to define what a leader is. So Ryan, cut number 2 there, if we could. What is a leader? This is according to the American Heritage Dictionary. And this is what it says. One that leads or guides, one who is in charge or in command of others. All right, one that leads or guides, one that is in charge or in command of others. That's a leader. That's the general definition for what we're talking about here. Steve, did you have something there?
Yeah. One that leads explains a leader.
You're using the word to define the word?
Yeah, so I would use guides, one that guides.
Okay.
Yes.
It's difficult to use the
I'm
word
with you.
to define the word because it's kind of like circular
reasoning.
Yeah.
That's why we have that word guide in there.
Okay, I was just
Nope, you're good.
make sure there.
Now, if you take a look at what John Maxwell might call a leader. Now, go ahead and throw that cut up there, Ryan. And this is a really important thing to be looking at here. He's got, if you've never read his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, I would strongly encourage you to read that. Really good book. And John Maxwell is definitely looked upon as a leader in the business world and Christian world. And he's got 21 laws there. I'm going to quickly go through these, but I want you to notice something. We've got some of them highlighted that we're going to we're going to kind of talk about a little more today. You got the law of the lid. You've got the law of influence. We're going to spend a little bit of time on that. The law of process, the law of navigation. Can you chart the course? Can you get from point A to point B? The law of addition, the law of solid ground, the law of respect. That's another one we're going to spend a few minutes on. The law of intuition, the law of magnetism. We've had some leaders in our past 20 years that really have had that. The law of magnetism, the law of connection, the law of the inner circle. Oh boy, have we learned the importance of that one. The law of empowerment, the law of the picture. We're going to talk about that for a few minutes today. The law of buy-in, the law of victory, the law of big momentum, the law of priorities, the law of sacrifice. A very important one. The law of timing, the law of explosive growth, and the law of legacy. Okay, so let's get into a little bit deeper on the 5 that I was referencing there a moment ago. So Ryan, if you get that next cut up there. The law of influence. Now that's referring to something really important when we look at Matthew 4:19. Jesus influenced people through truth and love, not position. Note that. Motivated people influence people through truth and love, not position. Law number 4, the law of navigation. Nehemiah planned before rebuilding Jerusalem's wall. That took a little while. And if you've never read the story of Nehemiah, I would encourage you to read the book of Nehemiah in the Bible. That would be a great book to read.
It's a good book. Real good book.
Yep. Law number 7, the law of respect. Deborah's leadership drew respect and trust of all the judges. One was a female. God's not anti-woman. Didn't know if you knew that, but he's not. And she was a leader that drew respect and trust. Law number 13, the law of the picture. Jesus washed the disciples' feet to model servanthood. A picture. Pictures are important. As a matter of fact, if you talk about baptism in the Bible, why is baptism so important? It's a picture. A picture of what? It's a picture of you dying to what you want and taking what Christ wants. I really super summarized that there, but that's what it is. And law number 18, the law of sacrifice. Jesus laid down his life for others. Of all the leaders in this world, I want you to think about this for a moment. Of all the major leaders and quote unquote saviors, if I could word it that way, and I will for a moment, which ones, if you could find them, laid down their life for others? Jesus was the only one. I'll let you chew on that for a minute. All right, so we've gone through those laws. We're going to talk about these a little bit more, but I did reference one more thing. I had to. And Ryan's going to put it up. What are the characteristics of a good leader? And I had to ask ChatGPT. I had to. This is what ChatGPT said. A good leader isn't defined by just one quality. It's the combination of several core characteristics that enable someone to lead with integrity, purpose, and effectiveness. Here's a breakdown of the key characteristics of a good leader. Ryan, next cut there, if you would, please. It is integrity, vision, humility, communication, courage, empathy, emotional intelligence, accountability, ability to inspire, and commitment to growth. Okay, so now remember what ChatGPT said, and I totally agree with this. A leader is not defined necessarily by just one or all of them, albeit if you have all of them, you probably are a good leader, for sure. But it's not just one. There are some leaders that have multiple of these, and might not be so good on others. That's just the nature of leadership. The best leaders are the ones that have the multiples. Okay. And I don't know which ones are most important to you. I think the ones that are really most important to me is integrity, vision. Humility certainly doesn't hurt. Communication, and I think emotional intelligence, the ability to keep yourself under control there when things get really rough. That's a good one as well. Let's take a look at some past leaders that I think are really good historical leaders in America. And I think this list here is probably a pretty good list. People would agree with it. So Ryan, if you'll put that up there, we've got Thomas Jefferson, definitely a great leader. He's the one that got you to your Constitution, right? Among other things. Thomas Paine, boy, he could articulate things so well, so well. How about Abraham Lincoln? And I think of all the leaders, and I don't say this lightly, I think of all the leaders, Lincoln probably had the hardest time, had the most difficult decisions, should I say it that way. And I think he did very well getting us through some of those very difficult times. George Washington, absolutely a great leader. When you think about what he did at the founding of this nation and the path that he set it on, tremendous. He wasn't alone. I'm not advocating that, but he was instrumental in putting us on a great path. And by the way, he was your first advocate for term limits. Just think on that for a few minutes. All right. Go ahead, Steve.
You know what's interesting, and I think about it, the very first president that we have of this beautiful United States is the one that advocates for term limits.
Yes.
The first president that we ever have of this country.
Yeah. And I tell you,
one that advocates for
But
term
you know what?
limits.
I don't find that surprising. You know why? Because they were under the rule of a king. And so what they were coming from was understanding that when one man has all the power, corruption will.
Yep.
And so he could see that if one man became president and could be reelected and reelected and reelected, how easily it would be a power grab.
Yep.
A power grab.
I
So
Right.
it doesn't surprise me that he said that.
Right.
Yep.
And it's just interesting that he brought that up to put that out and put it forward like that to say, hey, this is what we ought to do.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, and then it was just
Well, and it took,
president, and it wasn't a law. They just kind of followed it.
The one thing that, Nikki, that
while.
I think your points are really well made, and I think to enhance it even more, when you think about Washington, he was humble. There was humility there.
he was.
Yes.
When you think about Lincoln, there was a tremendous amount of humility there. And I think Lincoln was also a very good communicator.
Well, excuse me if I think I'm correct here, but was it not Franklin Roosevelt that was elected 4 times in a row, and they said that's when the term limits came in?
I would have to look that up.
I believe that's.
I would have to look that up. Yeah.
Ryan, you can fact check.
Yeah, and I think that was during what?
Because that was
World War
yeah,
One
it
or
was.
Two.
And that's when they said
one of the world wars.
the 2 term.
Well, Teddy, yeah. I think Teddy was first. Franklin was after that.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, if you'll put that next cut up there, where are the leaders of the Democrat Party?
Oh Lord.
Oh my God.
Now, and folks, for some of you that are listening, maybe you're tuning in and you're like, okay, I can. You're new, you're listening to us, and we're not going to get on a Democrat bashing bandwagon here, although that's what it'll focus on for this particular segment. But we could have put some Republican leaders in here as well. So the only reason that we're picking these out is because there's a lot of people that seem to be gravitating to them without understanding what leadership really is. They're flocking to them. And put that cut back up there for just a moment there, Ryan. You'll notice I've got one on here, Jasmine Crockett. This is one of the saddest examples of a leader that we could possibly view. And the reason being is this, and guys, just do some research on her. Do some research, and you will find out how many people she has gone through in her staff. You will find out how she treats them. You will find out what her focus in her position is. She is not there to actually be for the people. That's a comment coming from her staff. I'm not making that up. She is all about the internet. She wants to be an influencer. Now, remember, a good leader is what? A good leader will have influence, but there's a whole lot that goes into being able to influence. So Jasmine Crockett is not a great example of a leader.
I heard her in an interview when somebody asked her about policy. She goes, policy? I don't need to talk about policy. She goes, I get more clicks when I don't talk about policy.
So that right there, that's exactly what we're talking about.
She is looking for the number of clicks that she is getting. She is under the impression, and we as a society is our fault, that the more people that click on her little shorts or TikTok or whatever, that is going to give her popularity and get her through the political system. That is wrong. You have to be a person that can talk about policy. And I'm going to say this and I'll be quiet. And that is becoming real for Kamala Harris, who just came out, had an interview on Colbert, and the Democratic Party, people in the Democratic Party were coming out saying that was a joke.
They weren't too happy.
Policy is important in politics.
And I think I've said it on this podcast before, that until the Democratic Party gets back to addressing policy, there's not going to be very many wins in their future. It's not going to happen. And it's because many in America, that's where their focus is. There's been some that have been led to believe that if you'll vote for me, I will do this, this, and this for you. And this, and this has not happened. And lo and behold, they jumped to a different party. And we're gonna talk about that in another minute here. So where are our Democratic leaders? And none other greater place could that question have been asked this week than in the state of Texas. Ryan, next clip. And this is Mr. Gene Wu. And Ryan, I'm hoping and praying these are set up at the right segments.
Woo,
so
woo, woo.
Go ahead and try to play that. Let's see what we got here. And he's going to try, and he's not going to get it. Nope. This is why we needed to test this earlier. All right. So let me go ahead and try to pull up some of the things. Actually, go to the next clip there. So,
now, Fox News
there we go. Hold that one.
Chief of
Don't do
Staff
that
to
one
President
yet.
George W. Bush, Karl Rove, who
Some of
writes
these,
about this very.
Go ahead and pull off that. Yeah. So the clip I want you to go to is number 10 there. And this is where the Democrats in Texas ran. Okay. So just to give you a little background here, what happened was Texas is getting ready to vote on legislation for redistricting. Probably most of you know that. What many of you may not realize is where that redistricting is happening. And that redistricting is happening in the southern part of Texas. Newsflash, that's where a lot of Hispanic people have moved in. Okay? So the Democrats in Texas know that the probability of picking up additional Republican seats in the state of Texas for Congress is going to be about the sum total of 5, unless they, quote unquote, do something about it because it's, quote unquote, illegal. Now, before I go any further, and by the way, put that clip back up there, Ryan. Note the states where they ran to. Take a look at this, folks. This is a group of Texas Democrats that think they're really smart, and they ran to where? Seriously. Illinois? Did we seriously want to talk about Illinois? And we will. New York? Oh, that's a real fun one there. And how about Massachusetts? Of all the places that Texas Democrats could have run, of all the places, Massachusetts probably would have been last on the list. And I'll show you why. Okay, Ryan. But before we get there, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to an interview here with Karl Rove. And this interview was kind of eye-opening. And I'm going to go a little deeper on what he said in just a few minutes. Ryan, go ahead and put that up.
Joining us now, Fox News contributor, former Deputy Chief of Staff to President George W. Bush, Karl Rove, who writes about this very thing in his upcoming column in the Wall Street Journal. Mr. Rove, great to see you. It is embarrassing.
Great to see you.
I'm almost embarrassed for the Democrats and for the likes of Pritzker that they're trying to use this as a weapon, but they always give themselves away because they accuse Republicans and conservatives of doing what they do at their worst.
Yeah, you pointed out Illinois as one of the key violators here. Trump got 40% of the vote. And 82% of the delegation, 14 out of 17, are Democrats. New York, Hochul says it's all's fair in love and war, she says. So of New York saying you can't redistrict in the middle of the decade. She says we're going to do it. Trump got 43%, 73% of the delegation, 19 of 26 are Democrats. And then California, Newsom says, I don't care what the California Constitution says. I'm going to ram for whatever number of seats are flipped in Texas. I'm going to flip those seats back to the Democrats in California, even though the Constitution of my state doesn't allow me to do that. 38% is what Trump got. 83% of the delegation in California are Democrats. And you're right. The worst example is Illinois. I mean, they got 2 seats. You pointed out the 2 in western and southern parts of the state. I mean, they're jokes. They take every union stronghold, Rockford, the Quad Cities, then a little bit of Peoria where there's some blue-collar neighborhoods, and then stretch it over to the Illinois State University, and it looks like a serpent. And in order to do that, they have to make one of the Republican seats look like, I was looking at them, and the first thing that came to me was, it was a coal miner kicking a can. I mean, these things.
Okay, now we're talking about leadership. I'm talking about where did the Texas Democrats go? First of all, they shouldn't have gone anywhere. They should have been home voting. Okay, you have recourse. You absolutely have recourse. Let me tell you what the recourse is. It's called court. Okay? Court. That's number one. That's where you should have been. You should have been home. But what did you do? No. You threw a hissy fit and you took off for other states that are guilty of what? You want to see how bad it is? I'll give you a quick little look at this. This is great. Ryan, put up that next clip. How about the grand state of Illinois? Now, if you want to talk about Illinois, you're talking about one of the most corrupt states in political circles. There's a few that are worse. New Jersey is at the top. It is way at the top. That is it is the most corrupt state. No, California wasn't it, although they're not far behind.
Corrupt in what way?
They are working backdoor deals all the time. All the time. For their own personal benefit. By the way, Mr. Menendez, Robert Menendez, you remember him, your senator from the great state of New Jersey. Yeah, where is he? He's sitting in prison right now. Why? Corruption. Corruption. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so look at this Illinois map. Nope, go back to my Illinois map if you would, Ryan. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. this is what Carl was talking about. Now, look, are both parties, are they guilty of gerrymandering? Yes. Yes. That's why we have courts. What is a district supposed to look like? General rules are they're supposed to be compact and reflect diverse people. Okay, that's what they're supposed to do. That's what the court's job is, to make sure of that. Please tell me how the state of Illinois can have a sliver going up from the lower southwest corner of the state up into the middle part of the state on the other side. It's a sliver. How can we have a district that runs from the top of Illinois on the north side down almost halfway down the center? It's another sliver. It's barely kept together in the middle of that. What is that? It's called gerrymandering. Now, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about gerrymandering. We're here to talk about leadership. And to have Texas House Democrats run to a place that is guilty of the very thing that they're trying to oppose, your integrity just went down the toilet. You have no integrity. Next slide, please. Take a look at New York. This is really interesting. New York, I used to live there, folks. Used to live there. And I love New York. The state is an absolutely beautiful state. But you will notice that this state is pretty heavily blue. And you're thinking, Charlie, that's not heavily blue. That's not even half covered. No. You don't understand. You see, a majority of the districts are where? Down in New York City. You've got 26 congressional delegates out of the state of New York. How many are represented in the big red? Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 26. Now, Governor Hochul, in all of her wisdom, said that she's going to convert seats. Really? Really? But where did Texas House Democrats run to? The place that is very guilty of gerrymandering. Oh, I've saved the best for last, folks. Take a look at this slide. The great state of Massachusetts. Great state of Massachusetts. I don't know. You'd have to be colorblind, and if you are, let me fill in the blanks for you. The state is covered in the color blue. Well, okay. Is that right? No, it's not right. Take a look at this. Your 2020 presidential election, Biden had 65.6% to Trump's 32. I don't know how well your math is. That would equate to me at least 1/3 of the delegates should be congressional. Just stretching there for a moment. Let's take a look at 2024. Harris, 61%. Trump, 36%. And what kind of representation do they have?
Kind of none.
None. Look, I'm not for gerrymandering. And the problem is, folks, and you should know this if you understand your government and how it works, it's difficult to divide up lines. I'm not arguing that point. Not arguing that at all. But here we have a situation where Texas House Democrats, we're talking leadership, their integrity went down the toilet. Their influence is in the toilet. They have none. Next slide, please. This is Gene Wu. He is your leader of the Texas House Democrats, maybe going to be out of a position. Don't know. If Abbott and Paxton have anything to say about it, he will be. This is not a decision we make lightly, but it is one we make with absolute moral clarity. Wrong. That is entirely wrong. How do I know that's wrong? Because Mr. Wu saw this very thing happen back in 2021. They did the exact same thing. And where did they run to this time? Oh, they ran to Washington, D.C. They thought that was the cool place to go. Folks, when it comes to leadership, that is not a time to run. If you want to be a good leader, you need to stay in the fight and engage and try to influence. Get some integrity. Get that following. Be courageous in certain moments. This is not courageous. This is stupid. Not courageous. Nobody should be singing their praises. Next cut, please. Mr. Wu again. Using an intentionally racist map to steal the voices of millions of Black and Latino Texans, all to execute a corrupt political deal. Oh my goodness. Okay, where did I start this little segment on the state of Texas? Where was things changing down in Texas? Down in the South, which is where a lot of the redistricting is happening. Where did a lot of the Hispanic people jump to in the last election? Republican. Why? Because they know that the things that are being said by Democrats, no integrity, the things that are being said by them, they are not honoring. They are not honoring their word. Now, we can disagree about policy. I mean, I'm up for a good debate about policy. But when you don't even address the very things that you say you're going to address with the population that voted for you, shame on you. Texas Democrats are not alone. There's a lot of people out there, maybe the congressional Democrats in Congress. How about the Senate? I think the Senate is fixing to be obliterated on the Democratic side. I really do. Now, that's just me, but I could be wrong there. But I will say this. I think Schumer's on his last days in the Senate. I don't see him getting another term. Why? Nobody's following him. Nobody. He's not an influencer. He has no integrity. He's anti-Trump just to be anti-Trump and line up with the rest of his party behind him. See, that's not leading. You're following. So, this is not a good situation. And go to that next slide here, Ryan. And this is what I want to bring out. So, sorry, Democrats. Right now, you have no integrity. Your actions contradict your other actions. No vision, or lack thereof. No vision other than one of a train wreck coming. No courage. Ran out of town for the second time in 4 years. No accountability. Did I mention you ran again? Yeah. Do you remember? That's what I said. No adherence to the law of picture. You ran. Right? No ability to inspire. And by the way, Jasmine Crockett is not inspirational by any stretch of the word. None. All right, enough about that. Let's take a look at good old Chuck Schumer, shall we? Let's pull up that clip.
Thank you, Tim. And before we get to questions, Tim mentioned you couldn't believe he would do something he did yesterday. Here's even something more confounding. Some breaking news. Just now, the White House announced construction of a $200 million White House ballroom that will begin in September. A $200 million ballroom. Where'd this money come from? Did Congress appropriate it? I don't think so. It's almost like Doge was never about waste at all. It was about cutting services to help Trump and his billionaire buddies. So it seems that that Doge was all about making cuts.
Okay. That's precious. Senator Schumer, congratulations for misleading the people.
Intentionally.
Intentionally. That wasn't a mistake. That was on purpose. That's a liar, liar, pants on fire. You now have absolutely zero integrity. He had no integrity before this.
He hasn't had integrity
For a
in
long time. Yeah. So this is really bad. How do we know that, guys? How do we know that? I am so glad that you asked, because I just happened to go ahead and grab the clip from Carolyn Levitt's press conference, and this is really good. Listen to this. Oh, need some sound there, Ryan. And we don't have it for whatever reason. Click on the video there. Nope, go ahead and pull us out of that. Okay. So let me tell you what Caroline Levitt said. By the way, the link is in the description. And folks, very sorry for the technical issues today. We apologize. But Caroline Levitt made it very clear in her press conference. If you go to the link at about 10 minutes and 40 seconds in, she will start her discussion about the White House ballroom. She is going to make it unequivocally clear, without any question, who's paying for the ballroom. And guess who's not paying for the ballroom? You and me. Taxpayers are not footing any of this. Why? Because Trump and some of his donors are going to pay for the ballroom. All of it.
So they don't need congressional
They don't
approval.
need a congressional approval or appropriation. Oh, and if you listen to Chuck even further, he wants to talk about Trump eating his cheeseburgers in there. Newsflash, Mr. Chuck Schumer. You and your Democratic buddies that have been presidents for the back 10, 20, 30 years, and the ones going forward, all know that they need a bigger ballroom to handle really the kind of estate dinners that they want to handle. And guess who's going to benefit from it? Not just Republicans. It'll be your friends too. Wow. But what did you say? Great integrity on your part. Great opportunity to lay out a vision for your side. To say that President Trump was all about just giving the end around and really putting the screws to the American taxpayer. Nope. You were thinking of Joe Biden. You weren't thinking of President Trump. You missed it.
You know, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Trump can eat whatever he wants.
Well,
pretty much whatever he wants in the White House, huh?
He likes his cheeseburgers, but for whatever reason, Schumer was fixated on Trump eating cheeseburgers. I do not know why. And dumb. It is dumb. It is absolutely dumb. And I have to agree with Chuck. He does like his cheeseburgers. What was a famous picture that we had with him and Robert F. Kennedy after being confirmed or prior to getting confirmed? They were sitting at a McDonald's enjoying what?
Cheeseburger.
Oh.
Hey, I like cheeseburgers.
Hello? Somebody bring it on.
Man, I really like cheeseburgers a lot, especially
What's wrong
when
with a
they're
good
made
cheeseburger?
What's wrong with a good cheeseburger? Well, if you have a good... Okay, so Ryan says this. We probably... What's that famous tagline you've got, Mr. Ryan? My pleasure.
What is it, Captain?
It's chicken time.
Oh.
Chicken time. Yeah. Throw me up that next clip there, if you would, Ryan. So I'm sorry, Democrats. You have no integrity. You lie about easily verified facts. Easily verified. You have no vision other than one of a train wreck coming. You have no courage. You can't articulate why it should not be done. Why did you say what you said? It was only because you hate Trump. That's it.
Well, and
You can hang on here just a moment. You can't articulate a position why that should not happen. As a matter of fact, if Joe Biden had suggested it, guess what you would have done?
Yay!
You're two-faced. Bible has something to say about that. Go ahead, Nikki.
Well, it's really insulting when somebody in a political leadership like this comes out and willingly tells a lie and expects people to believe him. I mean, if you have a little bit of common sense, you know what the truth was.
Yeah.
So is he just thinking that the Democratic Party is so stupid, those that follow him are so stupid that he can say whatever he wants and they'll believe it?
And I think the other point to be made with that, that's a really good point. Schumer has really put himself in a place where he can't lead. I said a moment ago that he's been two-faced. He's been two-faced on a number of different issues. Who was the one that's advocated that they initially start out trying to run with Trump on the big, beautiful bill?
I gotta say
that hurt.
I gotta read this one here.
Go ahead.
It says, McDonald's is the only burger that doesn't grow mold.
Okay.
Thank you, King's Kid.
I need to, I don't know as I want to test that. That is funny. Let me continue on though on this point here with Democrats and everything. There's no accountability. You're always pointing the finger at someone else. Always. You have no influence. You can't even get people from your own party to follow you, much less others outside of it. What has Trump done over the last year? And literally the last year. Did you ever see a day in which you thought that Robert F. Kennedy would be part of his administration? I didn't. I didn't see that. Did you ever see a day in which Tulsi Gabbard would be part of the administration? I will say this, of the two, I would have seen it better for her. What did he do? He influenced others. That's what Trump did. That's not what Democrats are doing. And guys, I want you to understand this thing, again, it's important for you to understand that this leadership lesson isn't just a hash up of political stuff. Where do you stand with leadership? Do you have integrity? Do you have a vision? Can you chart the course? Do you have the law of respect? Trump goes anywhere in the world, and guess what he commands? Full-on respect. When he says that Russia would have never invaded Ukraine, I have a very strong reason to believe that statement. That's not just blowing smoke. Why? Because Putin knows that's a man to be respected. You can't mess with him. We talked last week about what? Strength. Strength. Peace through strength. That's what Trump is. Let's keep going. And no, Democrats, you have no ability to inspire anyone. It has been a long time since you've inspired anybody. I will say this. There is probably one, I can name, and I am going to name him. One Democrat that I can think of that could be worked with in Congress, or if he was a senator, be a senator. Who's our good man on the five there? Ford.
Harold
Ford. Harold Ford. He doesn't hate Trump for the sake of hating Trump. He will discuss policy. He will advocate positions against his policies. But he's not in the situation of just bashing Trump for bashing Trump. Guys, Democrats are not where you want to necessarily be doing your following. And this last one really takes the cake. I mean, this is really bad. This is what we've put in Congress. I want you to see this. Next clip. Hey, AOC, you got room for another one? Now introducing Delia Ramirez.
Democratic Representative Delia Ramirez at a summit in Mexico City this weekend appeared to tell the audience in Spanish, quote, "I'm a proud Guatemalan before I'm an American."
Ramirez's comments sparked backlash on social media. Some on the left are attributing it to a mistranslation, but it appears that Ramirez has not denied that she did say she was a proud Guatemalan before an American. The official X account for DHS shared a quote from Theodore Roosevelt that reads, "There is no room in this country for hyphenated Americanism. Americanism is a matter of the spirit and of the soul. Our allegiance must be purely to the United States. We must unsparingly condemn any man who holds any other allegiance."
Now Ramirez, who represents Illinois' 3rd Congressional District, pushed back, writing in part, quote, "Let's call it what it is. Today's attacks are a weak attempt to silence my dissent and invalidate my patriotic criticism of the nativist, white supremacist authoritarians in the government." She added, quote,
Yeah, right.
Okay, wow. Just
Yeah.
wow.
Wow is right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow is right. Folks, I am really, I've got my own views on this. I'm not for the hyphenated names. I'm just not. We're Americans, period.
Now, I want to say that she can be a proud Guatemalan,
Yep.
but not
Not before America.
right.
Are you a Charlie American?
Yeah, I'm a Charlie American.
Charlie American.
Yeah. Folks, do you honestly think that you could go to another country and say, I'm an American Australian? Oh, wait. How about
I'm a getting bald American.
I'm an American German? Really? Really? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And the thing is, for Delia, here's where this really rubs me in a bad way. She goes to a foreign country, Mexico. She was in Mexico City, makes a speech, and she wants to put her allegiance to Guatemala before America? You're a congresswoman. And might I say, you have no business being there. Ilhan Omar, you have no business being there.
No.
None.
No.
Why? Because your allegiance is not to America. Don't tell me you're dissenting on political. No. Hush up. That's not true. You are sitting there trying to promote another country over America in the hopes of tearing down the very country that you're ruling in. Shame on you.
Well, doesn't that what her faith has to do, basically?
Well, that's what Ilhan has to do. I would advocate that Delia does not. She that's not, my gut tells me she's Catholic, but I don't know.
Ilhan Omar?
No.
Delia Ramirez.
Oh,
yes.
Ramirez.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you was talking
No,
about Ilhan Omar.
Ilhan is Muslim.
Right.
That's clear.
That's what who I was talking about was Ilhan. Oh.
So
okay.
Delia is, I think, looking for a spot in the squad. Maybe she has it. I don't know. I should have checked that before I made these slides. My bad. But if she's not, guess what? AOC, you've got yourself another member. That's what you've got. So, Ryan, next slide there. Look, I'm sorry, Democrats, but right now you have no law of addition. Who are you serving? Apparently not America. America's not voting for you. Your polls are so far in the toilet that we're going to have to go find another toilet. That's how bad it is. You're polling at about 25 to 29%. I'm not off there. I have checked those numbers. Mm-hmm. You have no ability to inspire. Where are you going? Where do you want to go? Well, we all know. Yeah, that's where you're losing your influence because nobody wants to go with you. You know? No law of priorities. I'm sorry, is that America first or other countries first? I just want to get that straight. No law of priorities. That's John Maxwell. You got bad priorities. You want to make sure that we've got the murderers and the rapists in the country that are here illegally. You want them to stick around? That's what Karen Bass wants. Governor Newsom's all for that. Mm-hmm. That's your Democrat leadership for you. They're not leaders. They're not leaders, not to the place you and I want to go.
Want to let them out of jail, too.
Yep. No law of connection. Let's touch America's heart before we touch the heart of other countries, shall we? How about that? Delia, could you kindly touch the heart of America? You've probably been blessed in this country since you've been here. You certainly got elected. That was a blessing. No law of buy-in. Who is going to buy in to having others outside of our home placed in a higher priority than those that are in our home? I don't get that. Who would follow you? Folks, if you want to be a good leader, I would advocate to you that you need some integrity. You need some priorities. You need to have some connection. You need to have some courage. By the way, if Texas House Democrats could have gone ahead and done something lawfully. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering, can they be arrested for leaving? Yes, they can. Mm-hmm. In the state of Texas, they can. So, will they get arrested? No, although Gene Wu might. You always want to get the leader, right? So Gene Wu could. I don't know if they've arrested him yet. That will be interesting to see if that happens. They had until Friday, 3:00. Oh, and it's going to happen. The vote will happen. You can be assured of that. And then what's going to happen after that? The Democrats will file a lawsuit. That's okay. That's the recourse they have. Go for it. And it'll probably be rejected. Oh, well. And you know what? You should have done a better job in your state congressional district around the state. So that's your House Democrat. I'm sorry, your Texas Democrats and your national Democrats. Are they really leaders? And I would say no. Oh, Steve's thinking.
Your Democrat leaders about the Mamdani deal. Have you
So that's an interesting case right there.
New, support of Khalil?
Who's that?
Khalil Mahmood.
Oh, the young man that's...
Him supporting him?
That doesn't surprise me, though.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
I've heard on that, I heard that even a Democrat came out and said that is it the one that's praising Hamas and stuff that you're talking about?
Uh-huh.
They were saying that even some Democrats were coming out saying he needs to be deported. Because what he's saying is so bad about the Jews.
And what's really interesting about that situation there with
Khalil,
him, with Mamdani, is that you don't have another person to run, because that was a Democratic primary.
Right.
And Cuomo is going to run as an independent.
Yeah.
And Cuomo's integrity is already down the toilet.
Correct.
Is New York City going to elect a Republican for mayor? Well, we haven't seen that since Giuliani, and my gut tells me we're not going to see it anytime soon.
I wouldn't be surprised if Cuomo does win, though.
No, I would be.
You'd be surprised if
I
he
would
win?
be. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked.
This guy's pretty radical.
No, think about it, because okay,
but
duly noted.
In New York are radical, man. Those people there in that city are radical.
They can be, but the thing is, when you look, I don't think all of New York City is really that radical. They have a lot of liberal ideas, but when you talk about radical, I don't see a Mamdani as being the picture for New York City. Although if he gets elected, he will become the picture for New York City, just the same way as I believe it was Khan became the mayor, if you will, of London. That's kind of the equivalent right there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be really interesting, but I want to go back real quick to what you said, Nikki. The reason that Cuomo, I don't think he has a chance in this, he should have won the primary if he was really that respected among the Democrats. And he wasn't. He wasn't. So the only hope that he has is to convince people that he is so radical and that he's one that does not have integrity. And he did launch an attack this week about him staying in controlled rent property when he has plenty, when he's flush with money. And that would be an issue. So it is getting dirty up there. It's getting ugly.
Cuomo's going to have to spend some money.
Yeah, and he's going to have to get it. He's going to have to raise it.
Most definitely.
Okay, well, this is a good opportunity to change topics, and we're going to get into Steve's shenanigans. Steve's shenanigans.
Shoot me a buffalo.
Nope.
Stay out of my garbage can. I'll keep it to myself.
I love it. I love it. All right, so today's topic is gun
rights, firearms.
Yeah.
We're going to have a good time with some firearms today.
Learning a little bit about firearms.
Just a little bit. Just a few things.
So, folks, if you have not been with us before and gone through this with us, Steve has a segment, Steve's Shenanigans, and what we do is we do a number of true-false questions. Now, we try to go slow enough that you get a chance to kind of think through it and give your own answer, but we will give you the answer. And number one on the list today is Mr. Ryan.
True or false? You are currently need to apply or have any special license, or should I say you do not need any special license to sell a suppressor
now
without having to pay any government money, like, say, like a tax stamp currently.
Okay, so this is a very interesting question because in most, if not all states, you can sell the firearms and whatnot, but a suppressor is not a firearm. It is a component of a firearm, one that your gun rights advocates will tell you that should not be made available. Now, so Steve's question, his statement is, true or false, I do not need any special license to sell a suppressor. We're going to pop that answer up in 3, 2, 1. The answer is false. You do.
False.
You do need one.
Definitely do.
So
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I believe in gun rights and all that, but I'm glad to hear that you do need a license to sell a suppressor. Because why do you need it?
It is not actually not to shoot people.
What is a suppressor
Because suppressors are not used actually to go around and shoot people.
Although we see that all the time in movies.
In the movies, they are highly used to do that. Actually, suppressors are more used in hunting incidences, more so for hunting for ear protection than anything.
Well, that does, now that does make sense. That does make sense.
For those of you that have never shot the higher caliber rifles, you're not just dealing with kick, you're dealing with loud booms.
And a lot of people end up with ear problems, noise and ear problems from shooting guns.
Okay.
And another little fable, a little myth that a lot of people have, people think that suppressors really cut down the noise to almost nothing. That is not true.
No.
Not true. It does cut down some of the noise, the bang, if you will, but it does not come near to eliminating it. So just a little
Right.
trivia
Well, that
there.
was,
And-
I never knew that. So
And
that's,
currently, you have to pay a $200 tax stamp fee to the NFA, which is the National Firearms Act, which was enacted by the government.
Okay. All right, let's get to number 2. This is an interesting one.
Yes. California is a shall issue state like Texas.
Now, I have to tell you, to me, this one was easy. Now, Steve, you might have a slightly different answer than what I do.
I was going to say, okay, it's going to be false, right? I'm going to say false.
Answer in 3, 2, 1.
True.
It's actually false.
California is a shall issue.
It's a may issue. I double-checked
No,
this.
it is a shall issue. It changed in 2024.
Oh, my goodness, you
24.
got a later article than I did.
Yes,
So it's true, folks.
it is true. It changed in
and
2024.
The thing is, of all the states, where would you have expected a state to be a shall issue state or not expected it? California.
Yes.
I would have never expected them to allow that to go through. Now that goes to show you folks, think through that for just a minute. And I don't know the state congressional makeup of their state legislature. I don't know it. It is heavily Democratic. It is. But there's a lot of people that live outside of Los Angeles and San Francisco. A lot of people think that's the whole state. It's not. There are people that live in so many other locations within California. And to get the legislature in California to move forward with that, it goes to show you why you don't run. Just saying.
It
Just saying.
used to be a may issue state, and it was determined on a necessary basis by the local sheriff.
Okay.
On a may issue state, on like whether you need one or
Yep.
not.
The local governments have
And
a lot
it's
of
the local sheriff that makes that determination. But now it's a shall issue state, and it's kind of like whether you meet the laws correctly, and you got to take all of these extra tests.
Yep.
And the tests they have for California are very restrictive, and there's a lot to it.
Appreciate you bringing that up. I went and double checked it, and I'm glad you found an article that was later.
Yes.
Make sure you get that to me, because
I sure will.
We need to make sure that goes
sure
into
will.
the references for the podcast. Okay, so the third question, Mr. Ryan.
I can sell my firearm to my brother or sister who is a felon.
Now, folks, if you get this one wrong, you really need to seek some legal help on firearms.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to.
Need to think about your decision
Yeah,
making.
that's not really cool. 3, 2, 1.
False.
You
cannot sell weapons to a felon. It is against the law for a felon to own any kind of firearm.
And by the way, just because your felon friend or relative got out of prison, that doesn't negate things. There's still potentially issues beyond that. And
Correct.
you should check legally with a lawyer to determine what those rules are. So
That is
you
correct.
want to be very careful with this kind of thing.
That is very correct, Charlie. You want to check all state and federal laws in regards to that, because you yourself could end up a felon.
Yes. All right. Number 4 is a fun one because it really, go ahead and put it up there, Ryan. This is an interesting one.
I can carry a pistol in the following places: a national park, a national forest, BLM land.
Now, we're going to talk a little deeper about each of these in just a moment, but I want you to think about the question. You can carry a pistol in the following places. Okay, national park, national forest, BLM land. All right, let's go one by one here. We're going to start with national park, and I'm going to say true, but I can see why some might think false. I'm thinking I'm right. So Ryan, 3, 2, 1.
True.
I can.
You are right. Now,
And don't forget that a national park is different than a national forest.
correct.
So keep going.
Yes, and with a national park, you have to be concerned with all of the federal buildings that are on national parks, because in federal buildings, you are not allowed to take weapons into federal buildings. Remember that.
Okay. Big important reminder there. All right. So the next one, a national forest.
Sorry.
That's okay. You can carry one in a national forest.
That is very true, because national forests are run by the Department of Agriculture. They are done for harvest. They are agriculture products. They are done with a lot of hunting. Now, during the off season, it is best to have your carry license. During the hunting season, all you need is your hunting license. Remember that. And of course, know your state and federal laws for each particular state and national forest. It pays to know. Check, check, check.
All right. And then last but not least, on BLM land. BLM land, Bureau of Land Management. And there is actually a lot of BLM land out there.
Yes.
It really is.
Lots.
Okay. And
A lot of BLM land.
3, 2, 1. True.
Yes, it is very true. I've done a lot of hunting on BLM land. It's a lot of fun. A lot of BLM land is very remote. Do a lot of hiking on BLM land. Just remember, some BLM land has federal buildings. You're not allowed to take weapons on the BLM land. Make sure you check your state laws in regards to carrying weapons. It is always important.
Or you will become a felon and no longer be able to own a weapon.
Correct.
That
It
would
is
not be
always
good.
important to know your state laws in regards to carrying firearms.
All right. So now the reason I was going to talk a little bit more about this, there are many in your federal government that wish that you could not carry a pistol on
Yes.
those. As a matter of fact, they would advocate, why do you need a pistol?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's the reason why I really emphasize the issue of the pistol. And look, whether it's pistol, and by the way, can I say this? I think a 12 gauge is really great when it comes to encountering a snake, maybe a hog. Do not discount what a pistol can do. It can drop some things really nicely, especially the bigger calibers. So I don't find an issue with having pistols on federal land at all. But some would advocate that you should not be able to. All right. And let's go to our last one. Really interesting one.
I like this question.
This is the best one of all. You are allowed to personally own a cannon.
Things that make you go,
Think about this one.
I think it's going to be true. You may not be able to own a cannonball, but I think you can own a cannon. I'm just going to say true.
This has got some interesting facts behind it.
This very interesting facts, Charlie.
All right, Mr. Ryan, in 3, 2, 1.
True.
Ooh,
I want to go
one.
out and buy one.
I want one for my backyard.
You are allowed to own a cannon. Anything before 1889.
Oh, no.
Before 1889?
You are allowed to own. And it has to be considered relic. Okay. It has to be typically black powder, muzzle loaded type of, and it has to be you can own cannonballs, but they cannot be of the explosive nature. That is a different type of ammunition. You have to have a license from the NFA in order to do that, because that is a different type of ammunition.
So where do
you can own a solid ball. That's different.
Okay. Where do I get a cannon?
Afterwards, but I just want to let everybody know we've got the references to this stuff in the notes in the description. So would strongly encourage you to take a look.
Would you show that picture of the cannon again? Okay, now you see this cannon here. Now, if you go, people, and if you want to see a house that has its own cannons, look up the King Ranch main house in Texas, in Kingsville. You will see the main house. I've been there. I've seen it. They have actual live cannons that surround the house there. I think it's either 10 or 12 cannons that they have that completely surround that house. Real, live, functioning cannons.
That's a good security system. That's
How about
what I'm
that?
thinking.
Sure do. It's pretty cool.
I was wanting
it's
one.
really neat
After
to
going
see.
through this question, I wanted to get one.
Yeah, really neat. So,
well, Steve, thank you very much for the education on firearms there. That was we learned a few interesting things there, I dare say. And it is time now to get into the Screwtape letters. And we weren't able to do it last week, and really sorry about that. But today we wanted to get into chapter number 4 on the Screwtape letters. And remember that our overview of the Screwtape letters is as follows. There are a series of correspondence between two demons, Screwtape, the elder mentor, and his apprentice, Wormwood. In these correspondence, Screwtape encourages Wormwood in how to tempt Wormwood's human patient, a young man in the World War II era Britain. In this thread of conversation, Lewis explores the base temptations of man and how Satan and his tempters may indeed think about our own existence and how they may work to tempt the souls of men. And I think I really appreciate Lewis's work on this, the Screwtape letters, because it really gives you the opportunity to look at spiritual things from a different perspective. And we don't often do that. And we always, we have the best thoughts, if you will. And when you look at some of these things that are brought up, I think it's really good to evaluate where we're really at with regards to our spiritual walk. It's also good to do it from a different lens, through a different lens at times. And that's what this really gives heed to. Today's letter is letter number 4. This is a warning to hinder prayer. The best ways to hinder prayer. So let's put that highlight here. Lewis does a great job of highlighting how easily even well-meaning Christians can fall into the trap of praying to an idea of God, not God himself. He reminds readers that real prayer involves a will, not just emotions. and it should be aimed at the real living God, not an internal concept. And boy, we could spend so long on just this right here, but you get it. All right, let's get into the letter, shall we? My dear Wormwood, the amateurish suggestions in your last letter warn me that it is high time for me to write to you fully on the painful subject of prayer. Now remember, this is Screwtape writing to Wormwood.
Two demons.
They're two demons. If it's painful to Screwtape, what would that mean for us as God's children? You might have spared the comment that my advice about his prayers for his mother, it proved singularly unfortunate. That is not the sort of thing that a nephew should write to his uncle, nor a junior tempter to the undersecretary of a department. It also reveals an unpleasant desire to shift responsibility. You must learn to pay for your own blunders. The best thing, where it is possible, is to keep the patient from the serious intention of praying altogether. When the patient is an adult recently reconverted to the enemy's party, like your man, this is best done by encouraging him to remember, or to think he remembers, the parrot-like nature of his prayers in childhood. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. You hear what I'm saying? And folks, please do not misunderstand me when I say this. I'm not advocating that you not teach your children to pray. But praying little parrots of a prayer is not praying.
Mm-hmm.
That's not leading either. You need to lead. Well, Mr. Charlie, I don't know what praying is. Then you should study. Get into God's Word and study it. Find out what it is. Let's keep going. In reaction against that, he may be persuaded to aim at something entirely spontaneous, inward, informal, and unregularized. And what this will actually mean to a beginner will be an effort to produce in himself a vaguely devotional mood in which real concentration of will and intelligence have no part. One of their poets, Coleridge, has recorded that he did not pray with moving lips and bended knees, but merely composed his spirit to love and indulged a sense of supplication. Let me just stop right here for a moment. There are some of you that have this concept that God is just love. That's it. Nothing else. That is a wrong concept of God. God is just, and he is holy, which includes love. But he is just and he is holy. And just and holy are two very different things. Just means there is going to be judgment and a sentence when needed. Holy is just glory, glory, glory,
You know,
of God himself.
What's interesting, Charlie, is that some people don't understand that, the difference between that Jesus being just and holy, that they're two different things.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and you think about it and you go, how do you confuse the difference between just and holy? And some people think that the just and the holiness run like this when they don't run.
They don't.
They don't at all.
Let me start from the beginning of that paragraph one more time. One of their poets, Coleridge, has recorded that he did not pray with moving lips and bended knees, but merely composed his spirit to love and indulged a sense of supplication. That is exactly the sort of prayer we want. And since it bears a superficial resemblance to the prayer of silence, as practiced by those who are very far advanced in the enemy's service, clever and lazy patients can be taken in by it for quite a long time. At the very least, they can be persuaded that the bodily position makes no difference to their prayers. For they constantly forget what you must always remember, that they are animals and that whatever their bodies do affects their souls. It is funny how mortals always picture us as putting things into their minds. In reality, our best work is done by keeping things out. I cannot tell you how packed that paragraph really is.
You know, what's interesting, I read that paragraph, that section of it, and I was like, God, man, how did this C.S. Lewis come up with that section?
Oh, man.
Man,
he was a great
coming
writer.
in and just like going like, man, that is right there on point. Man, he is right on target.
Nikki, you do a lot of praying, especially in the early morning. Is it an issue of praying silently?
Sometimes I pray silently. Sometimes I pray out loud.
Okay, and that's the point that I want to make here. Folks, you don't be afraid to pray silently. That's okay too. And I don't think that's what Lewis is getting at here by suggesting that. But what he is suggesting is that we are so concerned about what our prayer looks like outwardly that we do things that we wouldn't have done if we hadn't had that concern. How many of us do pray silently? How many of us pray loudly? I'm talking when you're alone. Hello? Yeah, I'm not talking about in a group of people. Okay. I think it's funny when the government tells you cannot pray. I think it's hilarious to tell students that they cannot pray in school. That's hilarious. Really?
You know,
I've got a news flash for you, and let me come to you in just a moment, Nikki. I've got a news flash for you. You can't tell when I am praying and when I'm not praying. Good luck with that. Nikki.
I'm not sure if it was the UK, New Zealand, Australia, but one of those countries, this woman is outside an abortion clinic and she is silently praying, and the police officer comes over and asks her what she's doing. And she says, I am praying. I can't remember if she said, I'm just having good thoughts about the people in there, that no harm will come to them, that kind of stuff. And he was going to arrest her, and she goes, I've been arrested twice, and both times my case has been dismissed. For all she was doing was standing silently outside an abortion clinic.
Yeah.
Now, when you feel threatened over a prayer, then you need to understand that maybe what you're afraid of is real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you feel that you're fine, God is fine with you having an abortion, and somebody is across the street silently praying, not even out loud, not yelling to you, not with a sign in their hand, but they're just silently praying, and you feel threatened by that, then you need to do some inner, looking back at what you actually believe.
You know, I've watched numerous videos of people praying either silently, I'm guessing, and definitely out loud in the UK, and being arrested for praying.
Yeah, the UK is,
and they arrest them for praying.
The UK is becoming very
anti-God.
Well, yeah,
it's very anti-God.
Yes,
it is.
And
and free speech.
That's where you can definitely see where the persecution against Christians is really coming.
It's rising
big time.
Yes,
in the UK, big time.
Let me keep going here. I want to I do want to bring up one further point on this particular paragraph. I thought his statement at the very end of that paragraph, it is funny how mortals always picture as putting things into their minds. In reality, our best work is done by keeping things out. I could spend a lot of time talking about that. I really could. And I think it's something, again, that if we looked at this from a different perspective, we would find how important it is to put the right things into our mind, like the Word of God.
Yeah.
Kind of simple there. All right, let's go to the next paragraph here. If this fails, you must fall back on a subtler misdirection of his intention. Whenever they are attending to the enemy himself, we are defeated, but there are ways of preventing them from doing so. The simplest is to turn their gaze away from him towards themselves. Keep them watching their own minds and trying to produce feelings there by the action of their own wills. When they meant to ask him for charity, let them instead start trying to manufacture charitable feelings for themselves and not notice that this is what they are doing. When they are meant to pray for courage, let them really be trying to feel brave. When they say they are praying for forgiveness, let them be trying to feel forgiven. Teach them to estimate the value of each prayer by their success in producing the desired feeling. And never let them suspect how much success or failure of that kind depends on whether they are well or ill, fresh or tired at the moment. What a paragraph. But of course, the enemy will not meantime be idle. Wherever there is prayer, there is danger of his own immediate action. He is cynically indifferent to the dignity of his position. And ours, as pure spirits, into human animals on their knees, he pours out self-knowledge in a quite shameless fashion. But even if he defeats your first attempt at misdirection, we have a subtler weapon. The humans do not start from that direct perception of him which we, unhappily, cannot avoid. They have never known that ghastly luminosity, that stabbing and searing glare which makes the background of permanent pain to our lives. Now remember, the enemy is God himself. That's who Screwtape is talking about.
Yep.
Let's keep going. If you look into your patient's mind and when he is praying, you will not find that. If you examine the object to which he is attending, you will find that it is a composite object containing many quite ridiculous ingredients. There will be images derived from pictures of the enemy, as he appeared during the discreditable episode known as the Incarnation. There will be vaguer, perhaps quite savage and peril, images associated with the other two persons. There will even be some of his own reverence, and of bodily sensations accompanying it, objectified and attributed to the object revered. I have known cases where what the patient called his God was actually located up and to the left of the corner of the bedroom ceiling, or inside his own head, or in a crucifix on the wall. But whatever the nature of the composite object, you must keep him praying to it, to the thing that he has made, not to the person who has made him. That's a very telling paragraph. Let me tell you why. Because humans are very guilty of worshiping the creation more than the creator. That's where we stumble. We go to Colorado and we look at the Rockies with absolute awe. And by the way, you should. But not to worship them, to worship the one who created them.
Amen.
You're applauding the book instead of the author.
That's right. That's right. So I think, folks, to look at this paragraph here, when it says up to the left at the corner of the bedroom ceiling or inside his own head or in a crucifix on the wall, you will not see any crucifixes on my wall. You won't see them at home. You won't find pictures of Jesus hanging there. And I'm not opposed to pictures but that's not what I'm worshiping. I know who created me. I know what I'm worshiping, the Creator. I know who I'm praying to, the Creator. That's who you need to pray to. Not the crucifix, not the thing on the wall, not the image on your desk. Nope. The Creator, That's who you need to be praying to. Next slide. You may even encourage him to attach great importance to the correction and improvement of his composite object and to keeping it steadily before his imagination during the whole prayer. For if he ever comes to make the distinction, if ever he consciously directs his prayers, not to what I think thou art, but to what thou knowest thyself to be, our situation is for the moment desperate. Once all his thoughts and images have been flung aside, or if retained with a full recognition of their merely subjective nature, and the man trusts himself to the completely real, external, and visible presence there with him in the room, and never knowable by him as he is known by it. Next clip. Why, then, it is that incalculable may occur. In avoiding this situation, this real nakedness of the soul in prayer, you will be helped by the fact that the humans themselves do not desire it as much as they suppose. There's such a thing as getting more than they bargained for. Wow. Your affectionate uncle, Screwtape.
Boy,
Folks,
there is too much that you could bargain for with that, huh?
You know, there's times when some of my kids will ask us to pray for them about something. And they'll inevitably put in something that benefits them. And I don't deny that. When we're sick, what do we pray for? We pray for healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we should. That's biblical. But in the end, going through that sickness, what is that for? That's a moment to draw close to God. That's a moment to really learn more about him and what he wants you to learn. And sometimes when they ask for us to pray for them about something, sometimes I'm like, I'm going to go a slightly different direction with that prayer request. Not because I don't desire to see my kids blessed with something, but there might be something that I see as a key learning that only God can teach. I'm going to pray for that as well. Our walk with Christ is not always a rose garden. As a matter of fact, you are never guaranteed a day in the rose garden. You may be listening today, and if you are, thank you so much. We are very grateful for that. We've got a lot of people that have downloaded the podcast. They watch on YouTube and Rumble. They listen on Sunday afternoons from 1 to 3 in the afternoon on DLive in Vaughan. I want you to understand that you've never been guaranteed a day of rosiness. When you accept Christ as your Lord and Savior, your days may be really filled with a lot of heartache, difficulty. That's not lost on God. He is aiming to do something in you and through you that only he can do. Never lose sight of that, whatever it might be. Screwtape is got some interesting points about looking at prayer. I would encourage you to take a look at chapter 4 again and really see how much of that applies to you. Have you got the wrong perception of prayer? Are you praying to the creation as opposed to the creator? Because if you are, you're missing the mark in a big way. Miss Nikki, I'll come to you in just a moment, Steve. Darlin, thoughts on that?
Well, I just thought when I read the book that was really interesting how there was a coordinated attempt to keep this young man from fulfilling the will of the Lord, growing in the will of the Lord. And I think we should look at our own lives and see what is hindering us and take it seriously.
Steve?
You know,
something?
Yeah, on that one chapter right there, I ended up reading it, man, I don't know, about 4 or 5 times.
It's a great chapter.
Yeah, it really is. And simply because of some of the paragraphs in it were so profound that, you know, you read them and you just go, man, how did C.S. Lewis come up with these? You know, how could he look into that and see that?
Yes.
And you go,
Yes.
man, that is so true with people, so exactly the way it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and it's just, and I was like, man, I got to read this again and see how this all works together some more.
And Ryan, if you would throw cut 52 up there real quick, because, and folks, to be very clear, this is how Screwtape would summarize this. Okay, this is how he would kind of word this. Subtly shift focus from God's true nature to an idol of your own making. Discourage specific intercessions, praying for actual people or real needs. We should pray for real people and real needs. Promote generalities and abstract spiritual ideas that don't touch the heart or lead to transformation. That's what Screwtape would tell you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he would tell you. And I hope that going through this chapter today has kind of helped you identify the importance of shifting your focus to the right things during prayer, no matter when it is. I don't care if you're praying in the morning. I don't care if you're praying before you go to bed at night. I don't care if you're praying at a meal. What are we praying about? Who are we praying to? That's more important. Who are we praying to? Very good. Next week, we will cover chapter 5. Chapter 5, and another great chapter from C.S. Lewis's works, the Screwtape Letters. All right. And now it's time for the song review. You know, Ryan, we need to get a lead-in song for this segment, you know? We really do.
We
Bum,
do.
bum, bum.
Yeah.
Maybe I could write something.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. But in Ryan's song review, we take a look at two different songs. And this really is a great segue from the Screwtape Letters, because the singing aspect is important about what are we saying with our lyrics. And that's what Ryan does with these song reviews. We take a look at the lyrics and who are we promoting? Who are we looking at? And Ryan's got two more really, really good songs today. Let's start with Keith and Kristen Getty, Matt Boswell, and Matt Papa. And by the way, that's four people, but it's three individual groups, if you will, just so you know. Because I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, Matt Boswell and Matt Papa do not typically sing together and do work together.
They do, I think. They're a part of Keith and Kristen Getty's team.
Yes, but they also have their own music that they produce.
Yes, they do. Yes, they
do.
do.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. But tell us a little bit more about Keith and Kristen Getty.
So we've gone over a song of theirs before. They are a husband and wife, modern hymn writing team from Ireland. Really love their stuff. It's usually pretty theologically sound, along with Matt Boswell and Matt Papa's stuff. And this song right here, pull it up again. Oh, What High and Holy Privilege. This is a song that they actually just recently released, like I believe 2-3 weeks ago.
Yep.
And I just have been listening to it, can't get it out of my head, so I'm just thought, let's just go over it on the podcast.
Sure.
And I have a little background or heart behind the song real quick. Just one moment. Here we go. So this primarily comes from the verses in Hebrews 10, verses 24 through 25 about not neglecting to meet together, especially all the more as we see the day drawing near. And they said, gathering with God's people is a high and holy privilege. This new hymn walks through the beauty of corporate worship, prayer, praise, the word, communion, and reminds us what it means to come together in faith, love, and joyful reverence as we wait for Christ's return.
That's good. And take us through that first verse there.
Yes, and this is a fantastic song for opening a worship service. If you listen to it, it fits very well. So first verse is, "Oh, what high and holy privilege, once again to gather here in the name of our Lord Jesus as we see his day draw near. May we join in joyful reverence with thanksgiving, faith, and love as he welcomes in his people to the throne of grace above."
Okay. That's I'm going to say that's pretty theologically sound.
That's Hebrews 10 and Hebrews chapter 4 stuff right there.
It really is. And you know, when we sing, folks, I have to be careful here. when we're singing, we have to be careful that we're not just singing for the sake of singing because it sounds like a cool tune. Oh, could I get started with some of the jingles right now? Oh my goodness. But just the same way that Screwtape is telling Wormwood how to distract, music can do the exact same thing.
Yep.
And who was the lead in the music back before he fell? Satan. Didn't know if you knew that. Just a little thought-provoking challenge there. So this is a really good, I think, a very solid theological stand. Take us through that second verse there, Ryan.
All right. Verse 2, "Oh, what high and holy privilege, voices raised in prayer and praise, boldly bringing great petitions, gladly singing hymns of faith. May his grace at work among us cleanse and heal us from our sin, that our prayers may not be hindered, and our praises honor him."
Wow. Good stuff there. And note verse 3.
Verse 3, "Oh, what high and holy privilege, hearing from the word of God. Heaven speaks in perfect wisdom, earth responds and stands in awe. Do our hearts not burn within us as we see God's promises find their final yes in Jesus, leading us to righteousness?"
Okay. Let's we'll forego verse 4 there for the sake of time.
Okay.
Take us to the next group, which is We the Kingdom.
We the Kingdom.
And
sorry.
Tell us a little bit about them.
So We the Kingdom is a band primarily made up of family members. I think one of the guys is actually a family friend, but most of them are related. I didn't find much on how they got started. They pretty much just a family that started making music.
Yep.
And so the song of theirs we're going over today is called "Don't Tread on Me." This is a very interesting song.
It is. Yep.
And so I'll explain more as we get into it, but let's start.
Let's do it. Yep.
Verse 1, "Oh no, you've done it now, gone against the king, gone against the crown. Said, oh no, you've done it now, time to feel the fire." Verse 2, "Rumors spreading around, how could you think that he would stay down? Said, rumors spreading around, nothing but a liar."
Okay, now, before we go any further here, do we know who we're talking about? And I'm just going to ask the question in general.
I don't know what they're. I don't know.
We don't know what we're talking about. We don't know who we're talking about.
By the
And
chorus,
guys,
I think you'll understand.
Yeah, but the problem is and this is where I get really nervous with some of the music and some of the songs that we sing without really thinking about the words. By the way, you all know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We sing songs that we do not think about, and we sing them merely because they sound cool. That's it.
The music
turns us
got
on.
a good beat.
Yep.
You know,
That's all it is.
So you sing them, and you don't think about the lyrics.
And here we are. We're singing 2 verses. And by the way, I appreciate We the Kingdom. I'm not here bashing them.
Yes.
We like a lot of their songs.
They've got some good songs. But this is an example where we have to really be careful. Keep going, Ryan.
All right. So into the chorus. "Get on out of here, get on up and leave. Ain't no devil gonna tread on me. He's choking on the blood that ran down the tree. Ain't no devil gonna tread on me."
Now, I'll tell you what, those are fighting words right there. That makes me want to put on some boxing gloves and start duking with the devil, right? Mm-hmm. Now, no, we don't. We don't want to do that. We'll leave that to Jesus. Let him do that.
Yes. So this is a song that I was having a conversation with John Arthur a while back about the song "Run Devil Run" by Crowder. I don't know if anyone here or listening knows that song. But John Arthur has told me time and time again that he really enjoys that song. It's got a fun melody and beat and all that.
To my point.
But he brought up to me the verse, Jude 1:9, I believe it is, where it talks about the archangel Michael rebuking Satan in the Lord's name, or he says the Lord rebuke you. He leaves the rebuking to the Lord, right?
Yep.
And John Arthur made that interesting point that I just never thought about, because I love this, used to really love this song, Don't Tread on Me, and I still don't completely dislike it, and I'm not completely throwing it out, but it's
It's going to the heart of what we just said right there.
Yes, it is. It is. I just never thought about that before.
Show that bridge.
The bridge. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Don't tread on me. No weapon formed against me shall prosper in Jesus' name.
So you can make an argument that it's not.
It's not as bad as what the first two verses might.
It's not theologically. I wouldn't call it theologically loose, if you understand.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. Yeah. But I think it's, again, I want to go back to.
I think my biggest problem personally is the he's choking on the blood part. That's a really weird, in my opinion.
Don't think he's choking.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Now, see, I'm looking at. I see that differently.
Drinking.
Go ahead.
I'm seeing it a little bit choking on the blood. He lost.
Yes, but is he physical? Is Satan physical?
He can take the form of physical.
But is he?
No.
No, he is spiritual.
Right.
So what am I saying there? So I think it's important to remember that when we're dealing with spiritual beings, by the way, folks, if you think that you are really tough and you can duke it out with Satan, you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea.
Well,
it is far beyond your comprehension.
Only under the name and the power of Jesus' name. In the name of Jesus, I rebuke you.
And I think that's where Ryan's kind of going with.
Yeah.
It makes it a little nerving to sing a song and to go to what the chorus there. Get on out of here, get on up and leave. Ain't no devil gonna tread on me. He's choking on the blood that ran down the tree. Ain't no devil gonna tread on me. I think it's great if we can remind him he lost. But then again, why are we talking to him?
And I also found a little bit of their heart behind the song. Their band leader, Ed Cash, said in an interview, I believe, it's one of those songs that for us is just a powerful thing to proclaim. We've been given authority over the kingdom of darkness by Jesus. When we come together and we proclaim that, it is really powerful.
Yep, and I can't disagree with that. I think Ed Cash is right on that.
Yep.
I think he's absolutely right. I like We the Kingdom. Again, they've got some pretty good music. They have done some arrangements of songs that really they'll just about put you on your knees. That's how worshipful the songs are. So this is not a bash on We the Kingdom, but this song,
certainly not.
It's important for us to step back and take a look at this. And I appreciated Ed Cash being honest and saying, this is something that applies to us. Now, here is a huge, huge thing. Does it apply with everybody? Maybe. This is the difference between We the Kingdom and Matt Millard.
Bart Millard?
Yep.
Okay.
And Matt Millard.
Bart
Miller.
Bart Millard.
Bart Millard. Sorry.
Of Mercy Me, correct?
Mercy Me.
There you go. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Bark.
Nope, Bart.
Bart.
B-A-R-T.
Bart.
Yep, Bart Millard.
Oh, okay.
I can
And
only
Mercy
imagine.
Me. They have had so much success. Why have they had success? And it's because their music absolutely, it resonates on a personal level and really exalts the one that we're singing about. Think about their song, I Can Only Imagine. I Can Only Imagine. It's the lyrics, and by the way, you know what, Ryan? There you go. That's next week's song. There's one of them. I Can Only Imagine.
I got it.
and you will see such an incredible distinction with their music.
Do you know the story behind that, though, Mr.
Oh,
The
yes.
song? You've seen the movie and stuff?
yes.
Okay.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. If you've never seen that movie based on Bart Millard's life, just incredible. But
You keep saying Bart Millard. It's
Bart Ballarded.
do not correct me anymore on this.
Okay.
And Bart, if you are listening, will you please forgive me?
Just call him Bart.
I'm going to call him BM. All
There
right.
you
So when BM is doing
now, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I have.
Bart will
Well,
forgive me.
BM wouldn't be a good one to use.
No. I love Bart's music. Their music is absolutely great. Have they done songs that have been personal? Yes, they have. All right. But when you take a look at their music, many times it is lifted up to the Lord. And that's where it should be. That's why I love Keith and Kristen Getty. That's where it should be. So, guys, I hope this helps you how we look at music, how we kind of judge whether we're going to get into it or not get into it. Who are we singing to? Who are we praying to? Right? So that's where we go with this. Let's do some recap. My darling, final thoughts on what we've talked about today?
well, we talked about a lot of things today.
We
but
did.
I do think that we are sacrificing strong leadership over things that are, I don't know how to put it in good words, but it grieves me to see poor leadership. You know, Ronald Reagan was a good president, and Tip O'Neill was the Speaker of the House, I believe.
He was.
Mm-hmm.
They disagreed.
He was a Democrat, too, by the way.
Yes,
Folks,
Reagan was a Republican.
Some of you may be listening and you're very young. Tip O'Neill was Speaker of the House, and he was a Democrat. Keep going.
But, and they may have said some things, but they were friends.
Mm-hmm.
Behind the scenes, they were still friends. And we've lost that ability. We've come out, we've done the name calling, we've done all this stuff. And I'm really sad that we can't go back to, sure, stand up for what you believe in and stand up on policy.
Yeah.
But we've made it personal. And by the way, that's both Republicans and Democrats. I'm not going to just point because
it is.
some
It really
Republicans
is.
have been some name callers and, gone some places they shouldn't have gone. So I just wish we could go back to some decent common sense.
Yes.
And
I would agree.
Politeness.
Steve?
Yeah, one thing I'd like to kind of say, I missed, really kind of missed Nikki Knows Facts section today. I was kind of looking.
You were looking forward to that?
some lobotomy action there. I don't know.
Me.
I think it's always interesting for people to know as much as they can about their Second Amendment rights.
Yes.
I'm real big. Everybody knows, as long as they've known me here on the podcast, that I'm a big Second Amendment proponent. I've sat in the politics chair for a long time, and always kind of have a tendency to toot the Second Amendment horn a lot and do a lot of hunting, fishing, big outdoors guy. So, I kind of toot that horn a little bit, but I think it's real important for everybody not just to know their Second Amendment one, but to know all of their constitutional rights, because the Constitution is a very, very important, how do I want to say,
It's a guard of our rights.
yeah, and it's probably the most important document that's been written in world history. Yeah. I mean, what other country has done what this country has done and is and governed like this country?
Yeah.
Mr. Ryan?
For me, I think something that really stuck out to me was the Screwtape letters when we were talking about how when Wormwood or Screwtape is saying, in reality, our best work is done by keeping things out.
Yeah.
That was very interesting to me. I never thought about that.
Yep. Great point right there. For me, I think that there's just a lack of true leadership in our political world today. And I think most of you are probably sitting there going, yes, amen. And guys, listen, it's really important that we are involved in our political process. You should be going to the polls every time that they are open, every time. I've got to figure out when our next election is. I think it's coming up here pretty soon. We've got some local races that need to be voted on, and need to be there. Absolutely need to be there. And that means I need to make sure that I get myself educated on some of these people that are running. You don't just go and vote because their name sounds cool.
Right on that.
You don't do that. Okay? You go and you research what they stand for. And by the way, if it is not clearly articulated on a website, if you do not have warm and fuzzies after reading through that stuff on a website, I wouldn't vote for them. I would not. Mr. Charlie, what happens if there's absolutely nobody on the ballot that you can vote for? Then you don't vote for any of them. Leave it blank.
Right on.
But you vote because they align with where you want them to be. That's what the voting process is all about, and you should be doing that. I hope you enjoyed the episode today. We are so glad that we've been with you, and we enjoy our Sunday afternoons here at 1 o'clock, going to 3 o'clock. Again, you can catch us on Patriot Soapbox, on Vaughn and DLive. You can catch us on Rumble and YouTube, and or wherever. If you want to just listen to our podcast, you can do that. Get us on any of your favorite download platforms. Thousands and thousands of downloads. We really appreciate your support, and we are grateful for you being here today.